Hello and welcome to another episode of Coach Toya Live. I'm your host, Coach Toya. I am a credit and financial coach who helps aspiring homeowners get their finances together and increase their credit scores. So, tonight we are going to be talking about a very important topic. So, I want to make sure that everyone knows that if you are watching this on my Facebook, via my Facebook group, on my personal Facebook page, you can always comment in the comments and we will be able to see your questions or your comments. And you can definitely be a part of the conversation because as anyone knows, this is something that I'm sure people think they know about, but there's probably a lot about this that they don't know. Okay, so also if you are not a subscriber on my YouTube channel, you can always go over to my YouTube channel and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that people can see this content that we're putting together. But with no further ado, the purpose of this show is always to talk about anything credit and financial related. So I try to take those topics that people are thinking about, but nobody's really talking about. Maybe the stuff that's really not so sexy to talk about per se. So I called in one of my tax buddies, to have this conversation tonight. So I don't know how many of you woke up Thursday, Friday, and got this direct deposit from the IRS. And anytime I get money from the government, I have to start thinking, okay, what's up? So I called Kevin and I said, look, we need to talk about this. So Kevin, how are you tonight?
I am fabulous, fine, and outstanding. I'm loving it. I love life.
Good, good, good. So I always ask all of my guests, the very first question is what makes you qualified to speak on this topic?
That is a very good question. I've been in the tax business now going on 15 years. I've been doing taxes publicly for 12 years. I am an accountant and I love what I do. I love to teach. I love to learn. I a sponge when it comes to tax related issues, and have questions from all walks of life asking me all sorts of questions about taxes, what's best for them, filing single, filing joint. Do I claim my child? Can I kill my no? Can I
All that
eat
stuff.
my child? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I hear a gambit of questions, and I love to answer those questions and give them uh, 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 my interpretation of the tax law.
Because it's so complicated. It
Very.
seems like it takes, I mean, because how do you learn it? It just seems like you can't, there's no YouTube video, there's no book you can read and really learn how this works. I've tried to do it, to learn to do it myself, and it just seems like my mind doesn't comprehend how the
And,
tax codes work.
and that's what I like about it because it's fluid. Every year it changes. Every president will change something in the tax law, and it will seem like it's a good idea and turns out to be a bad idea, or seem like it's a bad idea and turn
Mhm.
out to be a good idea. It all depends on how you are in life, what's your structure in life. But in the end, if you know how to circumvent the tax laws, it works. You know
Okay.
how to use the word, use the tax law, it works for you. For those who try to abuse it, then they get what they get. It's unfortunate, but using the tax laws, you can come out ahead, or you can come out even, or you can owe a whole bunch of money. And I try to keep
Yeah.
that away from my
To a
clients.
minimum.
If they don't, yeah, they won't owe
Yeah.
thousands of dollars in a tax season. So
Right. So who does the tax laws benefit the most?
that is a very good
I know
question.
that's a tough question.
That is a very good question. My answer would be it depends on who's looking at it,
Okay.
and I say that with a cross eye too.
I see that.
For the most part, it does favor the top 1%, and corporations. That's no doubt. You hear it on the news all the time that the tax laws favor the 1%. Years past it favored the middle class. When we had a middle class, when we had a very
Yeah.
thriving middle class, now we're on life support. But it,
Yeah.
but with me being in not being in that 1%, but being in a position where I can offer my expertise in the tax laws to be able to help those in lower to middle class to use it to their advantage, then that's what I take advantage of. I have a book that has 422 deductions for small business owners. And
And you
believe
know
me,
all?
I try to use all 423 of them to help someone. And for, like I said, if you know how to use it to the best of your ability. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this money people are getting now. This
Hmm.
child tax thing. I don't understand it. And you know, I'm always skeptical when the government gives money. So my understanding is it people know it's a child tax credit.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
my concern is, am I going to owe later if I take this money now? So
Hmm.
kind of walk me through what is this credit thing
Okay.
and what are some things we need to know about it?
All right. Good question. So, what most people have, if you have children, you're going to have a tax credit. Each year, you have a tax credit for each one of your children under age 16. There was a time where it was 17 and under that you can receive a tax credit, and they moved it down to 16 over the course of the years, changing. It depends on who's in charge. For this time frame around with the new president, that number has moved back up to 17. So 17 and under qualifies for a child tax credit. And if the young adult is in college, then they may also apply for a tax credit because they're still a dependent. They're in college. But
Right.
for the most part, let's talk about 17 and under. So the child tax credit acts as a credit because you have children, not because multiple children, because that number dips as the higher the number goes. 1 to 4 is typically what you'll have as a decent child tax credit. $2 or more or $600 or more. At one time, it was 1,500 per child. At one point, I'm grown, so I don't get that credit anymore. Uh,
I don't
um,
think I have enough children. I see
no,
where these people with
try to
5
rent
kids. I
one.
see where they were onto something. I just didn't get the memo.
Yes, they didn't get. I didn't get that either. But I advised them, hey, you might be careful how many children you rent. Trying to.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
How many people you rent?
yeah.
So what happens now is the new administration is offering people an advance on their child tax credit. It is something they can opt out of. You would have to go to the IRS website and opt out of that. I actually put that on my Facebook page, Maze Concepts Facebook page. That you can opt. There is an option for you to opt out of receiving the advanced child tax credit. So this child tax credit basically pays per child up to not always up to $3,600. But what happens? They're doing it over a 6 month increment. So July 15th, I think that was the date. July 15th was the first installment. So again, they're ranging anywhere between $200 to $300 per child per month. So that advance will go to August 13th. I'm looking at the dates now. August 13th, September 15th, October 15th, November 15th, and then December 15th. They're only doing 6 months because the advance is for half the year. So when you file your taxes based on your child status under 17, then when you file your taxes, you will apply for the remaining 6 months. So basically they're giving you like they're giving you an advance on your paycheck or on your refund or on that advance. And yes, it does act as a buffer so that when you're doing your taxes, that number is now minus. I think we were leading or talking a little bit about that before getting online.
Right.
It acts as a minus. So let's say, for instance, that you were to receive, let's just for argument's sake, that you're going to receive $2,400 in a child tax credit. Now that the advance will give you 12. So now you're minus $1,200. When you file your taxes, you'll receive the other $1,200 in credit. Credit. There's a difference between a refund and credit. Big difference. So if depending on how much you make, how much is withdrawn from your federal taxes will determine how much your total amount will be for your tax credit. So this here is an advance on what they perceive your tax credit will be for 2021 tax season.
Okay, so let's go back to this credit thing because
Yes.
this is where I was confused in the beginning. So let's just say it's $2,400 and
Okay.
we got half.
Uh-huh.
So that means I only have half of a credit left
Correct.
for the first, okay, when I'm filing my taxes.
Yes.
So that means I could potentially owe because I was used to having a 2,400 credit.
Credit,
Now
right.
it's only 12.
Mhm.
So that could put me in an owing situation depending on whatever else I have going on.
That's a very good statement and a good question. So now keep in mind that you've just received $1,200 in a credit. Okay. So that $1,200 does circle back to your taxes as a credit received, and then the remaining 12 will total up to your total 24.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So there is a box or somewhere that accounts for
Absolutely.
that, and it's still
Yes,
going
yes.
to be accounted for in the end. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so. Why would I want to opt out of it? What situations would you advise someone to? I think you need to go opt out and just wait until you file.
Well, it will all depend on their income because their income does determine how much of a credit they receive. If they receive too much of a credit, then it may hurt them.
Okay.
And I think that's what you were alluding to. Just
So
like
maybe if you got a better job,
if you, let's say
you're
right
making
now,
money.
you based on your income, you're making $50,000 in June. And now in the last 6 months, you instead of making 6,000 to in addition or to the 50, that you're making 75 to 100,000. So instead of making 100,000 at the end of the year, now you're making 175,000 at the end of the year. Based on that income, your child tax credit is going to drop.
Okay.
Because of this income base.
All right. So we need to talk to a tax person before we start accepting this money.
I would suggest that your viewers will talk to their tax accountant and let them know that in the beginning of the year I made X amount of dollars. I just took another job and it's going to double that salary. How is that going to affect my child tax credit, and should I opt out?
Because not everyone even gets a tax credit, isn't it? It goes up to a certain income.
That is correct, and then it falls off. Yes.
Right. Do
yes.
you know the income off the top of your head? I mean,
that income is 400,000.
Okay.
It's a big number. It's a big number based on the new administration. It's a larger number. Yes.
So it wasn't 400,000 under Trump.
I don't recall what that number was, but it was different. It was different.
Okay. So far, what you've seen, can you tell which tax plan is better between the previous administration versus the new administration? And has the new administration really rolled out their complete tax plan yet going forward?
That's a good question. Normally, we'll see the new tax plans in December.
So right now we're still under.
Right now we're still under the previous administration's information. Yes. So right now the changes right now is the advanced tax credit. That's one. Maybe a new stimulus coming up. That's two. So they're little by little they're implementing some programs, but come December I'll have the full gambit or partial gambit because it still updates as the year goes on. I'll have a better picture of what the new tax law or tax amendment is going to be added. Because the tax law that was written in 2016 will take effect through 2025.
Oh, okay.
So now so the new administration is adding amendments to that in order to do whatever they have planned. Yes.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is. Yes.
So I always like to ask tax people who come on my show, what is that thing that you wish all of your clients knew before coming to see you? Or that they would do before they came to see you?
I am okay. All right. What they would do before coming to see me. If you're a new client, I would need to know who you are. I would need to have your identification, which it's a law. I need to have your social security card. I need to know how many children you have. I need to know even if you're married.
Okay.
If you're married or you have a domestic partner, I need to know these things. Are you filing together? Or are you filing separate? Are you widowed? When was the deceased? Do you have a death certificate? Things I need to know. Are you claiming their social security? Things I need to know. Yes. Is the child receiving social security for the deceased partner? Things I need to know. But on the other side, I would suggest, and I strongly suggest this,
Yeah.
start a business.
Okay.
Start a business. Even if you're painting nails, whatever the case may be, doing eyebrows or digging holes or being an accountant, start something. The reason why I say that is because it will help you in the long run to keep money in your pocket. And that's where I come in with my 422 deductions. And we will write it all off.
Because
Absolutely.
basically, without that, there are no deductions, really. I mean, if you
For
have no kids, you
Mhm,
have no house, I'm just
mhm.
a normal person working.
That's right. If you're a W-2, if you work for an employer, you receive a W-2 at the end of the year. Your write-offs are maybe a house, maybe some charity. That's about it. If you're a contractor and you receive a 1099 NEC or miscellaneous, then the world is yours. We can write off everything, including haircuts. You see, I'm working on mine.
Ooh, if you're a contractor for a company, like
You're
that means 1099, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So they pay you. They write you a check. They don't take out the taxes, and you pay your taxes at the end of the year. Ooh, I love you. I love to work on. I like to work on your numbers and get you a nice sizable refund. Yes, we love it.
Yeah.
We love contractors.
So, is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head that a regular W-2 person can write off that they don't know that they can write off?
Ooh, here's one. Most people with W-2s do not know that they can write off their vehicle
Hmm.
registration and
Let's talk
inspection.
about that.
Yes. So every year you have to do your property tax for your home, and property tax for your car, or registration of your car. You might know it that way.
Yeah.
So that registration that you pay for DMV is tax deductible.
And that's not the same thing as the property tax. So you can write off the property tax as well as the registration of the vehicle.
Correct. So you have your property tax. Let's say you own a home and you have a car. You work for an employer A. So you get your W-2, you get your mortgage interest form, and then the registration for your car. That registration is tax deductible. Most people are riding around with that registration in their car, and that's tax deductible. Bring that to your tax person to write it off. You can write that off. Absolutely.
Wow, that's a gem. I don't think I knew that. I've been
Oop,
leaving
there it
money.
is.
How far back can we do amendments so I can go back and get my money that I haven't been
Got to
collecting?
get that money. We can do. I can go back 3 years only.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
All
And
right.
my advice to people who have filed their taxes, they ask, how long should I hold my taxes in case of an audit? Most people are told 7 years. I
Mm-hmm.
tell them 10 years. 10 years. I had a client that they hadn't filed the taxes in 10 years. He got audited for all 10 years.
He
And
hasn't filed in 10 years?
ten
And he
years.
thought he was going to get away with
He
that?
thought he was just he didn't have he thought I'm not going to do it, or he forgot about it. 10 years later, IRS put a lien on his house for $75,000 because that's how much they saw in his income that was reported over 10 years. Um,
Wow.
um, yes. So by the time we finished, he only owed five, and he was happy to write that check and keep moving. So, oh yeah, yeah, got the lien off, and we he was very happy. Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So yes, keep it 10 years because you never know when they come knocking on your door. I had to deal with a couple of audits too. Show them the paperwork, tell them to get out your face. That's it. They just want to see. They want to see what you've claimed. And long as you have that
Yeah.
documentation, they're easy pickings. They're fine.
So I think you wanted to go over a few questions that you hear a lot with this child tax credit thing, or any
Absolutely.
other questions that you wanted to talk about before we kind of wrap things up.
Absolutely. So the
Okay.
first one was, if I'm eligible to receive an advanced child tax credit payment, when will I start receiving the payment? So we briefly talked about that one. The first one was on July 15th time frame. The next one will be August 13th time frame. I'm saying time frame because it's not going to be specifically that date unless you do direct deposit.
Okay.
They may mail it off on that date. You may get it a week later or so on. So separate September 15th, October 15th, November 15th, and December 15th. Now, if you go to the IRS website and opt out, then you will have to, you'll deal with that when you file your
Okay.
taxes in 2022. The next question is, how will I receive my advanced child tax credit payments? And just like we just mentioned just then, we just answered the question that they will come through as either a direct deposit to you or they will be mailed to you. Yes.
Okay.
The second or third question, I should say, and this one's a pretty tough one. It's a good question too. It says, I recently filed my 2020 tax return. Do I need to do anything else to receive the advanced child tax credit payment? And I hear that a lot. Some people will ask, do I need to amend my return because I didn't claim my children? Or something like to that nature. And I would say, if no one has claimed your child and your child has not claimed themselves, then yes, you're leaving money on the table. You need to claim them.
So
Um,
one quick question. So what
yes.
about the people who
Mhm.
claimed other people? Let's say I let someone else claim my child. Is that person going to get my credit?
The short answer is yes,
Okay.
because they
So all
claim
the
they.
people who are watching this who did that, you need to pay these people a phone, a visit.
Yes,
You got
yes, yes. Or they need
or
to give
you
you
need
a
to push
cut.
that one too. I'm
they,
just saying,
they need to give
who
you
would
a
have ever thought
cut.
that practice would come back to bite you in the butt?
Yeah, I've encountered that too, and I would suggest, if it's your child, you claim your child. Yeah,
But
that's
if you've got more than you
um,
then it benefits you, I could see passing over
do
a
what you think
couple.
is best for you and your family.
Just make sure that you now know that person probably got some money.
Yes, yes, yes. I do. Sometimes I will see where a family member, a mother or a father or a grandparent who's taking care of the child will claim that child because of outline reasons. So that's legitimate. So that's a legitimate thing. Divorce parents, or sometimes we get into a little
That's a
bit of a
sticky thing.
yeah, a little bit of a thing where one parent would claim him one year and the other parent would claim him the next year, and hearing that particular year where they're not claiming them, that child will get a double in advance or in child tax
Yeah,
credit. They want to go ahead and file it because they want that money, and then the other parent goes, "Oh, wait a second, it's my turn to."
now you're.
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's ugly. That is ugly. That's ugly. We won't go there. That's really
Mhm.
ugly. All right.
Wow.
And the fourth question: do I need to file a amended return, to receive my advanced child tax payment? And we just touched on that one as well. Most of the time, what you will see amendment is when one parent claimed the child when it was the other parents, and it's a court order that one child will claim. I mean, one parent would claim him one year, and the other child or the parent would claim the child the next year,
Right.
and they supersede that authority and do it first. First one in it is the one who gets the prize. And if mom files the child first, then mom gets the prize. Yeah. And as the question states, do I need to amend? Then yes, if that parent, if that was their turn to file, then yeah, they have to. The other parent has to file an amendment. Good luck with that.
Right.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Yes.
Anything else you think people should know that you want to make sure everyone knows before we wrap this up?
I want to say that regardless of who you use as a tax person, make sure you are comfortable with them. And that you have a good relationship with them. That's most important because they are the ones who's going to be dealing with your money at the during tax season. And of course, if they're not looking out for your best interest, then you can always call Maze Concepts. You know, I mean, we
go ahead, plug your business. You know, you gotten me out of some jam, so that's why I thought you were the first person that I wanted to talk to about
that. And I appreciate that. And I thank you for that. You know, I'm a humble person. I love what I do. I love to help people. Again, my company is Maze Concepts LLC. You can find us at on Facebook as Maze Concepts, or the website of mazeconceptsllc.com. And there's a form in there you can fill out. You can request information about anything, from fees to this topic that we're talking about tonight, or any topic you may have in the future, or just a burden that you want to get off your chest and you want to just talk to someone. I will gladly answer that question, no fee. I want you to be happy where you are in life and help you to get to where you want to be in life when it comes to taxes. So, well, I'm just a humble disabled veteran trying to help people as much as I can. So.
And we know anyone who does taxes has got to be smart. I have all respect for tax people because I get asked that all the time. Do you do taxes, Coach Toy? And I'm like, I have tried. I've sat through half the class. I can't do it. My mind does not comprehend it. So
when I fell in love with it, actually, and I stumbled on it, as a matter of fact, and that's a long story. That's a totally different story, my background on how I became an accountant. But I love what I do, and I love to see the smiles on people's face when we're done. Had one person think he owed $15,000. He actually got a refund of $10,000, and he's like, "Whoa! I thought I was going to owe." Welcome to my world.
I'm always skeptical to go to people because the fees are so high. And if you know you're going to owe, nobody wants to talk to. I don't want to pay you $500 for you to tell me that I owe $3,000. I mean,
right. When I knew I was going to owe $3,000, but
when you like I just mess it up myself.
When if you think you owe, and that's a very good point. If you think you owe, get it done. At least you'll know exactly how much you owe. You'll have that time frame for the deadline to put your ducks in a row to take care of it. Then again, you may get a refund. What you don't know until you try. Try it. I tell my clients that. If you think you owe, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let's find out exactly how
you charge, don't you? Or you only charge if they choose to file?
I charge if we choose the file. Yes.
Okay, so
if you're coming to see how much you owe and that's it, then I'm gonna charge you half. I mean, Daddy got to get paid too. So
makes sense. Okay. Well, anyway, it's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Pleasure for being here. Yes.
Okay, and we will put all of our information below. If you guys have any questions or comments that we did not get a chance to address, drop them in the comments and we will answer them as soon as we can. And next time, see you later.
Thank you.